Look closely at this image. $500,000 lies exposed to the desert sun. The key is still there. The hundreds horsepower engine is intact, but its owner is gone. In Dubai, Lamborghinis and Ferraris were once the absolute measure of success, of boundless dreams. But if luxury is the ultimate symbol of power, why has it become the most useless thing, precisely at the moment when people need salvation? There was a time when Dubai Marina, or Palm Jumeirah, defined a life that never sleeps. The destination of massive capital flows and extravagant vacations. But imagine standing in the middle of a flawless boulevard, where the dazzling glass windows only reflect a deathly silence. A city may still technically breathe, elevators still run, air conditioners still blow, but is it truly alive if the minds of everyone within it are focused on only one escape route? We often measure the prosperity of an empire by what it painstakingly builds. Skyscrapers tearing through the clouds, artificial islands stretching out into the open sea, glittering Guinness World Records. But perhaps when a real crisis knocks, the truest measure isn't in what reaches the heavens. It lies in what is left behind. And to understand why those gilded dreams are discarded along the roadside, we must go back to where all the exodus began. The connecting heart of the world, Dubai International Airport. In 2024, Dubai International Airport proudly announced a record number of over 92 million passengers. The airport is more than just a transportation infrastructure. It's the main artery pumping lifeblood to the entire economic body of this emirate. Just look at Terminal 3 on its brightest days. Brightly lit electronic display boards, endless streams of multinational travelers, the sound of suitcases rubbing against polished marble. It's a perfect symphony of connectivity. But if a city is specifically designed to receive incoming passengers, what happens when those passengers suddenly just want to leave? Dubai's secret lies in its hub and spoke model, a global hub. Emirates doesn't rely on the domestic market, as their population is too small. They thrive on nearly 70% of their transit passengers. From massive duty-free shopping malls and taxi networks to hotels and Michelin-starred restaurants, everything is holding its breath, waiting for the trickle of money from flights. Look at the aviation map. When flight routes cease to be symbols of growth and become escape routes, and passengers are diverted to neighboring countries, how much of the world's faith in Dubai's absolute safety will remain? History has witnessed silent exodus here in 2008 and during the global pandemic. And now, in a scenario for March 2026, when a security breach disrupts hundreds of flights in just 24 hours, Terminal 3 crumbles under the pressure. Look at this luxury duty-free shop. Perfumes, watches, Hermès handbags are still there, perfect and sparkling. But the throngs of people ready to open their wallets have vanished. An economy that relies entirely on movement. How long can it withstand a complete freeze in that movement? We often think of airports as neutral spaces. People arrive, people depart, planes take off and land. But for Dubai, the airport is more than just a gateway. It's a promise that the city remains connected to the rest of the world. When that promise falters, does the entire brand of this empire begin to crack? And when the connecting gateway freezes, millions of anxious eyes from the airport terminal will turn outward. They will look toward the Guinness World Record-breaking structures, iconic landmarks designed to showcase greatness, but never designed to cope with fear. Burj Al Arab, Palm Jumeirah, and Burj Khalifa. 3 names, 3 images the world uses to identify Dubai. Look at the Burj Al Arab, a masterpiece of sail-shaped architecture, erected as a defiant declaration that this empire can transform the desert coastline into an exclusive stage for global billionaires. But when an icon has to appear in the same frame as plumes of smoke, blaring security sirens, or debris from the sky, does it still represent invincibility? The world has witnessed multi-million-dollar renovation plans for ultra-luxury hotels in the Gulf region amidst rising geopolitical risks. Look at the glass surfaces of these icons, once touted as absolute perfection. If even a minor security flaw, a slight risk from the sky, can completely change how the world views a structure, then does the true value of an icon lie in the tens of thousands of tons of steel and concrete, or in the invisible veil of trust surrounding it? And the Burj Khalifa, the pinnacle of the world. You once had to queue for months to buy a ticket to the observation deck, to look down on the city as if looking into the future of humanity. But imagine, you're standing at a height of over 800 meters, and the sky, which is supposed to be for the most spectacular fireworks displays, is now flashing red lights of air security protocols. Can a luxurious experience still maintain its exorbitant price when what people see below is not prosperity, but fear? We often enthusiastically create symbols to be seen, photographed, shared, and admired by the world. But it seems they were never designed to answer the most devastating question of a crisis. Is this place still safe to live in? The more imposing a structure becomes on the skyline, the more likely it is to become a giant gauge, measuring the panic of an entire city. And when the outer layers of glass and steel begin to lose their luster, the inner machine of truth begins to reveal itself. Because behind those symbols, there is more than just architecture. Hotels, restaurants, luxury real estate. They are colossal, money-guzzling machines, balance sheets, cast in concrete. In 2024, Dubai welcomed 18.72 million international overnight visitors, a colossal number, a 9% increase from the previous year. The splendor you see wasn't built to be admired. It's a money-making machine specifically designed to serve the global flow. Look at this 5-star hotel lobby, perfect in every detail. But if the entire luxury ecosystem is built solely to accommodate international visitors, what happens when those visitors, for some reason, no longer want to walk through these doors? A luxury hotel can't shut itself down like a phone app. Fixed costs never sleep. Even without guests, the massive air conditioning system still has to roar at full capacity to combat the 40-degree desert heat. The pool still needs filtration. The elevators still need maintenance. The food supply chain still has to operate. Look at this cold hallway. An empty room is a loss of revenue, but an empty, massive hotel. Has it become a merciless, money-burning machine? In times of crisis, when revenue plummets, luxury systems begin offering unprecedented deep discounts to cling to cash flow. But look at this perfectly empty banquet table. What the super rich are really buying isn't just a Michelin-starred meal or a night on a velvet-covered bed. What they're buying is absolute security. If that security is no longer guaranteed, how much of a shattered dream can a discount salvage? And the cruelest story lies in the real estate market. In Dubai, real estate is rarely just a place to shelter from the rain and sun. It's a concrete safe containing expectations of tenants, of price appreciation, of golden visa residency, and of social status. Look at this $1 million apartment with its infinity ocean view. The glass is still bright, the interior is still intact. But if the buyer flees and the tenant disappears, the cash flow dries up instantly. At that point, is this stunning concrete structure an asset? Or has it become a liability with a balcony? We often call buildings assets because they stand still, look very solid, and always have a clearly stated price. But in reality, the market never values reinforced concrete. What the market truly values is belief. Belief that tomorrow morning, someone will want to come, want to rent, and want to stay. When that belief fades first, will the money ever stay behind? The money doesn't stay. The asset becomes a burden. And when the cash flow evaporates, people begin to realize the coldest truth of any crisis. The right to leave is not equally distributed to everyone. And what is left behind is the most heartbreaking footage of a once thriving empire. From the quay lying on the ground, look up at the pavements of Dubai Marina. The world's most expensive machines, once the ultimate symbol of success, now lie motionless under the hazy dust of the desert. Look at the prancing horse logo or the flying lady emblem buried under sand. These 100-horsepower machines were once created to represent speed and pride. But if speed, money, and social status all become powerless, unable to free a person from fear, then what in this world truly has value? But even the most expensive material possessions cannot compare to the conflicting imagery. In the rumors of mass exodus, there is a detail more haunting than concrete or supercars. Pet cages. Look at the corner of Terminal 3 amidst the chaotic sounds of announcements and the screeching of suitcase wheels. When extreme fear forces people to make the most ruthless decisions, choosing what to keep to catch the last flight and what to abandon, how much compassion has a city built on luxury prepared itself for? The most surreal aspect of a crisis lies not in the ruins, but in the mindless functioning. Smart streetlights still automatically turn on. Luxurious background music plays steadily in pedestrian areas. Elevators glide silently up and down. Look at this apartment with its doors wide open. The cold still permeates an empty space. If a city remains fully functional technically, but its inhabitants have left, is it still a living metropolis or merely a grand stage? With the lights not yet turned off? We as often dissect economic crises through charts of declines, rents, or macroeconomic capital flows. But perhaps the most authentic and brutal evidence is never found in financial reports. It lies in a hastily discarded car key or a cold, unclaimed pet cage. So, is an economic crisis ever simply a story of money? The inanimate objects left behind are merely the tip of the iceberg. When the luxurious exterior peels away, we are forced to look directly at the core of this machine, the flesh and blood people operating it. Who has the privilege of buying a ticket to leave? And who are the condemned to be trapped? Dubai boasts one of the most unusual demographic structures in human history. Nearly 90% of its population is foreign. Look at the faces on Sheikh Zayed Boulevard. Doctors, bankers, drivers, engineers. They are the flesh and blood cogs tirelessly turning to operate this opulent machine. But there's a truth often overlooked in investment reports. The vast majority of them weren't born here, and they have no intention of dying here. If all those running the city are bound to it only by a labor contract and tax-free salary, what will keep this machine afloat when risks begin to exceed what money can afford? In a scenario of a widespread crisis, the collapse doesn't begin with concrete, but with resignation letters. Tens of thousands of golden Visa cards, once symbols of power, are thrown away. International schools witness a dramatic drop in student numbers. The healthcare system is reeling from a nursing shortage. Look at the empty chair in this finance office. Brain drain is no longer a dry economic concept in the newspapers. It's evident in the empty desks. When the brightest minds collectively realize this is no longer a safe place, then who will the recovery of an empire rely on? But that's only the story of those with the power of choice. At the bottom of this pyramid model lies a far more brutal truth. Look at the rough hands that built the Burj Khalifa or dug the artificial islands. When the crisis struck, projects froze, contractors fled. They were stranded in the desert by brokerage debts from their homeland, and their passports were confiscated. If the elite can easily leave with a hastily purchased business class ticket costing thousands of dollars, while those who built the city are trapped behind barbed wire fences, is that exodus truly fair to everyone? We Tatsu often praise Dubai as the pinnacle of a global city, but we forget that global also means incredibly easy to replace. Experts can move to Singapore, capital can flee to London, and labor is left behind. If a city doesn't have a single community that truly considers it home, that considers this land worth protecting with all its might, what will it cling to for survival when lease agreements are no longer attractive enough? And when loyalty dries up and people leave, money, the most insensitive and cowardly thing in the world, will immediately follow. That enormous flow of capital doesn't disappear. It's just looking for a new address. There's an unchangeable theorem in the financial world. Capital is the most cowardly. It never stands still and takes its course. It always flees before disaster truly strikes, seeking places with better liquidity, greater security, and a fresher growth story. Look at the map of capital shifts. If Dubai once considered itself the default destination for all capital flows in the Gulf, what will happen when capital suddenly realizes it has many other safe havens? Look at its giant neighbor, Saudi Arabia. They don't hide their ambition to use trillions of dollars to redraw the global map of tourism, sports, and entertainment, aiming to break free from dependence on oil. Look at Riyadh's rise, or the futuristic NEOM project. When a competitor not only has bottomless pockets, but also offers a completely new national narrative, how much advantage can Dubai retain from a glamorous, old scenario? Across the ocean, Singapore sells the absolute stability of its legal system. Istanbul sells its prime location and millennia of cultural heritage. Doha sells the excellence of aviation and sports. Look at a transit passenger. They are never loyal to the impersonal concrete blocks of a terminal. They are loyal to the flight schedule, safety, price, and a sense of security. If a passenger can change their entire transit route with a swipe of a finger on their phone, can an empire based on connectivity ever afford to lose trust? And there's an ironic truth at play. The new generation of global citizens and travelers has changed. They no longer crave soulless concrete structures, nor are they overwhelmed by a man-made Guinness World Record. What they seek is authenticity, depth, and local culture. Things that money cannot buy or build quickly in a few years. As the world grows weary of dazzling LED lights and palm-shaped islands, what story will Dubai have to tell to bring people back? We often mistakenly believe that the competition between megacities is a race for the tallest buildings, the largest airports, or the most expensive advertising campaigns. But perhaps the fiercest battle lies in the intangible things that are hardest to buy: a sense of security, absolute trust, and cultural depth. If those things cannot be molded into concrete overnight, how long will Dubai need to recreate its own soul? But the flight of capital, or tourists, ultimately, these are just the symptoms on the surface. The real problem lies much deeper. The issue isn't a tourism crisis. The problem lies in the very nature of this model: a show city. Airport disruption slowed down passenger traffic. Empty hotels exposed enormous fixed costs. Irreversible real estate became a burden. Professionals fled, paralyzing operations. And finally, capital flight shattered the growth narrative. Let's look back at the entire chain of events. Like a string of glass dominoes stretching from Terminal 3 all the way to Palm Jumeirah. If all the pieces of this empire depended on a single thing, trust, did the real shock lie in the initial incident? Or was it already present in a fragile structure from the very beginning? Dubai was incredibly successful in building a show city model, a perfectly designed stage for the world to admire. They built the tallest tower, the most spectacular artificial island, the largest shopping mall, overflowing with light, glass, and steel. Look at that magnificent skyline. Each building is like a giant billboard showcasing the future. But does a city designed solely to overwhelm the senses automatically become a place where people truly belong? A city to live in often needs far less ostentatious things. These include stable school systems, hospitals with lifelong residents, public spaces that hold the memories of generations, and a fair labor market. Look at an ordinary neighborhood, where life is nurtured by quiet rhythms. If a place completely lacks these simple anchors, what will it have to hold people back when the dazzling lights of that stage suddenly go out? We shouldn't view Dubai as just one isolated failure of the Gulf region. It's essentially an exaggerated version of a devastating question that many global cities are deliberately avoiding. Can we continue to grow indefinitely, solely through speculative real estate, luxury tourism, and borrowed capital? If the answer is no, then this rift isn't just anyone's story. It's a stark warning to any city, willing to sacrifice sustainable depth for frenzied growth. So, from the ruins of illusions, the final verdict isn't the end. The biggest question now is, on the brink of reshaping, can Dubai learn to stand on its own 2 feet, to become a completely different version of itself? We shouldn't be judgmental. History has proven that Dubai has never been a city lacking the capacity for survival. It has dramatically transformed from a barren pearl diving port into a global aviation and financial hub. Consider the Al Maktoum mega project, a colossal gamble designed to expand its dominant position for decades to come. But after a shattering shock of confidence, will new infrastructure that merely makes the city bigger automatically make it more resilient? Instead of continuing to drain resources for short-term luxury experiences, the future of this empire may lie in longer-term values. Look at the spaces that are gradually changing. Not just places for the super-rich to land and take a picture, but places where scientists, professors, and businesses will settle permanently. But the question is, when the steady stream of tourists with their thick wallets can no longer sustain a steady flow of money, how will Dubai learn to retain those who truly want to stay? Because the sustainability of a city never lies in the depth of its foundations or the capacity of its train stations. It lies in the people who choose to stay when a crisis strikes. Teachers, nurses, drivers, small families. Look at these ordinary people. They are the true heartbeat of the city. If it wants to overcome the curse of a show city, will Dubai be willing to sacrifice its fleeting glamour to give a sense of belonging to these quiet people? We have every right to admire Dubai for its speed, for its insane ambition to transform the desert into a 21st century skyline. But admiration doesn't mean turning a blind eye to the harsh questions. Can a city obsessed with being taller, brighter, and more expensive learn to be more humane, slower, and more stable? Let's look at those symbols again. No massive concrete structure collapses on its own because of a bad day, but every symbol becomes meaningless. if the story that supports it is no longer believed by the world. So, ultimately, is Dubai losing its tourists? Or is it losing the very dream that the world once vied to enter? We once arrogantly believed that technology, billions of dollars in debt, and reinforced concrete could conquer all the limits of nature. But perhaps the desert never truly retreated. It was just lying silently waiting, right beneath the proud glass, steel, and asphalt. When a city is programmed to never stop, can it learn to slow down? Without losing its very soul? Dubai may not disappear. But the old Dubai dream, the dream of an endless flow of people, money, and illusions, perhaps it's time to put an end to it. What do you think about the limits of virtual development? Leave your perspective in the comments below. If you find this analysis valuable, please like and share to spread the truth. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our next investigative journeys. The hidden truths behind the glamorous facade of the world are still waiting to be brought to light. Thank you for listening.